Well, guys, another one followed me home. Guess we'll see about getting it off the trailer now, huh? Well, all right, guys. I figure it's about time we do a will it start video. You guys are looking at a 520H. Oh, that's a little squeaky. That's what I was afraid of. Someone's done a repaint on this, and I'm assuming when they did, the sticker didn't survive. Man, look at all that pollen buildup. It's no wonder I can't go outside without crying. Just walk you around here and let it all sink in. It's actually got pretty nice wheels on it. So this is the hydro unit. So it's got the old drive stick down there at the bottom. And something special about the 520s is you get this fancy gauge panel. They've got different hoods on them, different side panels. But besides that, they're pretty much all the same, body-wise. The weird thing is, it's a 520, but somebody has put an 18-horse Kohler on it. Not a rare thing to happen. You guys know that those Onins, they're bad about dropping valves and other issues. You guys have seen some of the problems I've had with that 16-horse Onin I got. And I've actually got one out in the barn with a broke rod. But let's take a look here under the bonnet. Well, we're off to a good start. It's got the stop rod in it, so that's nice. Oh, look, it's got a battery in it. That's worth $12 there for a cord charge. Connections look pretty crappy though. From what I can tell, it looks like it's pretty much all there. He did tell me, the guy I bought it off of, it's been sitting, I'm guessing, about 5 years. He was using it to cut his grass up until, like most people, they buy him a zero turn and it parks. So he did tell me though, the reason he parked it is what he said was the fuel pump went bad. And I actually got a brand new one in the box to put on it. So I've never worked on one of these Kohlers, so this will be a learning experience for the both of us. I'm sure we can stumble our way through this. But yeah, I don't know. Let's get the old battery burner set on there, start charging that thing up, and do the usual thing. We'll start checking for spark and all that good stuff. There isn't a key in it. There is a key switch, but I noticed there's no key. But I've got a spare, so that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, here we go. Oh, and in my excitement, I forgot to mention another selling point. Look at these mint chrome hubcaps on the front. None on the rear, but got some nice ones on the front. Well, I'm still rocking the old Schumacher Speed trickle charger I bought at Walmart like a decade ago. I really need to upgrade, guys. Oh my. You guys can see that. It says it's charging. We'll let that sit for a minute while I find my key. Get me a couple spares. nothing moving. Oh, you guys saw that. I hit the test button, they lit up for a second. We're going to load that battery. Oh, that's weird. There we go. Well, guys, I've been letting this sit here and charge for a minute. We'll go ahead and try that key again. I don't think there's still enough charge in it. But I figured, safe bet, because I've done this quite a few times, it's gotten me in trouble. Why don't we check and actually make sure this thing ain't locked up? Because as much as you want to trust a feller when he tells you it just needs a fuel pump, still, it's been sitting. And I wondered why too, the fan shroud was off this. I thought maybe it just came off, but you could see how the clues kind of paint a picture. If it was locked up, they had it off trying to get it unstuck. So let's just try it and see. Oh, that's not good. It moves that way. Ooh. I don't like the way that sounds, guys. Oh, there it goes. Let's pull them spark plugs out, get a little lubricity back in there. I did go through and spray some stuff with WD-40 preemptively. Well, I'm not seeing any rust on there. What is that? I don't know what that is, but it's not rust. See, if I had one of them fancy inspection cameras, I could stick that in there and see what we got going on. But I'm worried I'm gonna break that bolt off that flywheel, so I'm gonna try to get a pipe wrench on the output shaft side. It is hitting something and just stopping. Oh, there it goes. Nope. What do you guys think? Think it's just a ridge in the cylinder? Definitely getting more out of it. Oh, I got a little friend there. Is that a little jumping spider? Well, guys, I'm gonna keep working this back and forth. I got some more slick juice in there. We'll see if I can't figure out what it is we're hitting, or if it's just a little bit of built-up rust from it sitting for so long. The hood was shut on it, so I wouldn't think that much water got in, but here in Indiana, we got quite a problem with humidity though, so I could understand if some water got in. All right, I'll bring you guys back when I know what's going on here. Figure we better go ahead and peek under this intake. Make sure we're not making the problem worse here. No, not bad at all. I feel better about that. I don't see hardly any rust down in there. right, guys, this thing's been sitting all night with some WD-40 in the cylinders, letting the battery charge. I got it working pretty good yesterday, but it was still stopping about 3/4 of the way through. But I think, oh yeah, we got it now. Let's try it with a key and see if we can't blow all that stuff out of the cylinders. All right, here we go. Well, that's a good sign. Let's see if we got spark. Fire and hold. Well, if you guys can see that, but it is sparking. All right, guys, we know we got spark. It's turning over. Let's do the wrong thing and dump some gas down the carb and see if it'll start. Probably way too much. Well, it's alive. I'm guessing we're gonna have to pull that carb off and clean it, take a closer look at the fuel system, but at least we know we got a runner. Went from locked up to running in about a day. It's pretty cool. Guys, before we go ripping this carb off, I know I'm gonna ask for a lot, but I'm gonna take this fuel line off, stick it in one of my good fuel cans. 2 birds with 1 stone. We can see if that fuel pump that supposedly is bad, if it works or not, and we can see if this carb's actually gummed up, which I'm sure it is, but you know, just humor me, guys. Pocket pry bar to the rescue again. All right, guys, I got this filled up with some 2-stroke mix. Looks like we got what? About 16 ounces in there. So we're gonna prime it, start it, and see if it starts sucking gas. We should be able to tell pretty quick if it does. Well, that didn't work too well, did it? Well, as much as I don't want to, I think we're gonna have to go ahead and pull the carb off. There it is. All right. I'm not giving up on this fuel pump yet. I went ahead and pulled them spark plugs back out so this engine will turn over a little bit faster. We're going to try to prime this fuel pump again. And then maybe, just maybe, we'll see this pushing fuel. I guess the guy was right. The fuel pump is bad. That's our problem. You guys see that? Float's locked up. You guys can see how rusty that is. Definitely had some water in it. Oh yeah. That's locked up too. Man, I don't know if we're gonna be able to save that one, guys. But we're gonna try. Oh, there we go. Oh, I do. If only we can get that jet out. I might just heat that thing up. Now, I don't normally recommend taking a torch to your carburetor, but if you do, make sure you got some water close by. And don't forget, WD-40 is flammable. All right, guys, I said we only have about one shot at this. Oh, awesome. Got it out. This is always a good time to check and see if your float still floats too. So hopefully when we come back, it'll still be floating on top. If you guys know a good upgrade on one of these cleaners, let me know, because this thing is on its last leg. The heating element quit working. It's just, yeah, I need to get a new one. Well, guys, with the carbs and the parts cleaner, I figured we might as well go ahead and throw a fuel pump on this. I'm pretty convinced that that one is bad. I tried priming it, and it's not working. So the original owner of this tractor was nice enough to throw in this brand new Kohler fuel pump. I mean, this is too rich for my blood, because you guys know I would have bought the cheapest one on Amazon. So let's go ahead and throw this on and see if it works. Of course, it's worn off right where I need to see. I'm pretty sure this is an M18. You guys correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. You guys ain't gonna be able to see it, but this fuel pump is mounted to the side of the case. And down inside of here, on each side about right here, is a Phillips head screw that retains this to the block. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna go ahead and pull this other heat shield off. Wouldn't be a bad idea anyway, to clean out any mouse house that might be in there. And then we'll be able to get in there with an extension. Should have known better. Oh yeah, all the way at the front. Phillips head screw on either side. Well guys, I've never seen such in-depth instructions about a fuel pump before. Of course, again, I normally buy the cheap Chinesium, but this comes with a variety of fittings. And from what the instructions are saying, and you guys who have done this before, don't laugh. You use this to depress this clip in here, and then you shove whatever fitting you want in place. I don't know, seems complicated, but I mean, why not just leave threaded ends on it? But what do I know? I don't know how I feel about this. Instead of using the paper gasket, you're supposed to use this thing. But again, I'm not an engineer, so I'll take their word for it. All right, guys, same test as before. I've got the feed going into a good fuel tank. I did prime the line. I didn't think it'd be a good idea to crank it over dry. Let's see how much fuel it pushes. There it goes. I'd say that is a success, guys. Awesome. All right, guys, got some parts in. Pulled the old carb out of the parts washer, got the parts laid out here. So this is my plan, and I'm sure you guys have dealt with this yourself. I could not find the proper gasket kit that came with everything I needed with the rebuild kit. So for roughly 28 bucks, I got this box here from Amazon, brand new carb. We got gaskets, all the ones I need to make this work on this M18. New piece of fuel hose, a filter, and the carb assembly itself. And this vendor, this 1PZ, it even comes with a couple blanks for throttle control rods that you can bend and make work for your application. So my plan is we're gonna try this carb out of the box. You guys know how Chinese carburetors, sometimes they work great, sometimes they don't. We're gonna try this one, and worst case, if we cannot get this to work right, if I can't tune it, we will use all the parts from this to rebuild the OE carb. The main reason why I wanted to go this route, you guys saw when I took this apart, maybe you didn't. This needle valve here is bent at the tip, so I would have had to replace that anyway. But besides that, the carb body itself is pretty solid. So this will be the backup plan. If this does not work, we'll go this route. Now, full disclosure, I just want to tell you guys, if you decide to go this route, I am going to have the link for this in my description. It takes you to the Amazon listing where you guys can get this. I got to say, out of the box, the quality, I'm pretty impressed with it. It looks pretty much like the OE, but full disclosure, in my application here, this is your choke lever. The choke operation is upside down on this new carb compared to the old one. So all you're gonna have to do is reroute your cable and move it to where it's either gonna pull instead of push, vice versa. I'll walk you guys through that when we get it put on the tractor. All right, got the carb put on, got the linkage hooked back up. This is what I did for the choke cable. I told you guys that this is upside down on this new carb. Not a big deal. Instead of having the cable route in around this way and go through this provision here, I just brought it around under the intake. For me, for this sake of what I'm doing here, I just zip tied it in place. But there's plenty of bolt holes and stuff, and if you got a long enough cable, this might actually be where the provision's supposed to go. You know what I mean? If your engine's set up that way. But as you guys can tell, everything's working fine. Throttle linkage is free. Let's go ahead and put this fuel line in a gas can and see if we can get this thing to run on its own. All right, guys, get the battery hooked up, jump pack hooked up, fresh gas going to it. Let's hit the key and see what happens here. All right, guys, we got the tires aired up again. I've got it plumbed into the factory gas tank. You guys just keep an eye down here. We're gonna crank it over, make sure that tank's working. I did back blow it, back purge it. I'm sure you guys heard it bubbling. So I don't know what happened to the key switch. I have to jump the solenoid now to get the turnover. I don't know why. I know that battery's junk and that's not helping things. So anyway, let's see if it's gonna run on its own gas tank. Well, that's weird. All right, test drive successful. I mean, it runs great. The hydrostatic rear end's working perfect. I don't know if you guys could hear it in the video, but I was moving the hydro lift lever here and I could hear that shock moving up and down. So all that's working too. It's definitely got something weird at the ignition system, and I'm not quite sure. I'm sure it's just a bad connection. The main issue I'm running into is this battery is junk, and that's probably why I'm having to jump it off the solenoid. I'm guessing it's probably a bad connection going to the solenoid, but yeah, besides that, I mean, I noticed the fuel gauge looked like it was working. Some other gauges ain't working, but these 520s are known for having really bad electrical systems. But man, it starts up great, it runs great, drives great. It's awesome. So, $1 million question is, what are my plans for this thing? I mean, you guys know I don't need any more projects. I mean, we're still chipping away on the old 314 over there. I don't necessarily need another mower. I've got the Hustler, I've got a couple of with mower decks, so I don't necessarily need this thing. But what I do need it for is parts. So as much as I don't want to, I'm gonna end up parting some of this thing out. I need the headlight bezels, need the seat off of it, need the rear wheels and tires. This thing's got a lot of good parts on it. So what I'll probably end up doing, I'll probably end up taking off what I need. I'll put some lesser quality parts back on this so it's still somewhat complete, and probably just try to sell it. Give it to somebody, send it down the road, let them put a deck on it, put a plow on it, whatever. I mean, these 520s are pretty sought after. This one's not as much. You guys can see it's not the swept front axle, so it's not as desirable, but it's still a good solid tractor, and I know there's still a lot of things you can do with it. So that's my plans for it. Rob some parts off of it, throw it up on the old marketplace, sell it, see if I can get my money back out of it. And I don't even think I even told you guys, I paid $200 for this thing. Now, when I bought it, I didn't know the engine was locked up. I would have got it a little bit cheaper. But for 200 bucks, I'll get the parts off of it I need, send it down the road. I probably won't get burnt on it. So yeah, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Laid Off Garage. Had a lot of fun on this one. I'm going to be putting some links to some parts and different tools I use whenever I'm doing this stuff. Some of you guys have been asking me where I got the stuff. So I'll be linking to Amazon stores. You guys follow that link. It does give the channel a kickback, helps me out a little bit, and it'll help you guys out from having to search to find it yourself. So as always, you guys keep watching, commenting, subscribing. We're almost to 1,000. We're getting there. So you guys keep doing your thing, and I will see you next time. Take care.